Good morning and welcome, friends, to Temple Buddhist Center's weekly Sunday meditation service. My name is Victor, and I'm honored to be of service this morning. We hope that today's service finds you happy and healthy, but please know that if you are struggling in any way, we hope that Temple Buddhist Center and this Sangha can be a source of refuge for you as we open our hearts to you and to your loved ones. Let's begin our service this morning with a few conscious breaths. A conscious breath is where we breathe deeply through the nose, seal the mouth, hold that breath for a few moments, and then release slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Holding that breath for a moment. Feeling the fullness of the lungs and releasing slowly. A long, slow, metered release. And as you release, check in again with the body, noticing any points of tension, any points of contraction. And bring light and awareness to those points, allowing them to further relax. And a second conscious breath together. Holding that breath for a moment. And releasing slowly. Good, and as you release, giving yourself complete permission to take, even if only a few moments, to unplug from the energy of going and doing and striving and efforting and accomplishing, as we cultivate together the energy of being. That energy that requires nothing of us is a boundless, endless source. A source of energy, vitality, aliveness. And a third conscious breath together. And releasing slowly. And as you release, the body becomes even more gentle, more easy, light, and spacious. And I invite you now to allow your awareness to encompass the present moment. The present moment might seem like a small increment of time, but it actually has no beginning and no end, and we are always arriving. And so I want to take a moment to remind you that there are blankets, there are throat lozenges, there's tissues, there are also listening devices at the altar at the back of the meditation hall. There are also cushions up front. So for those of you that like to sit cross-legged, you are certainly welcome to come and partake of the cushions up front here. And also we want to welcome all of our Sangha members joining us from afar. We have folks joining us from all around the country, including some out of the country. So Temple Buddhist Center is international, so to speak. So welcome to our Sangha from both near and far. Here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin our services with a little bit of chanting. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition. In chanting, it's not about being a singer. It's about having a voice. It is about a deep a deeply devotional expression of what is sacred within you and sharing that with the world. Today, our chant is Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. And this is the chant that honors the energy of the awakened mind, which is boundless, it is endless, it is a source of absolute centered and groundness in all of us, and enables us to bring that gratitude and that joy to each and every experience that the Buddha talks about. And so I'm going to invite Jordan to tone us in as we take a conscious breath together. Let's begin. Om Vajrapani Hum. 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 Once more. Om Vajrapani Hum. You might recognize the seed sound, Om, which in Sanskrit and the Pali tradition, Om is the sound of the universe, reminding every one of us that we are a beautiful note in a grand cosmic symphony forever playing. And how delightful to have Lindsay and the kids come in and share their voices with us today as we chant together. Lindsay, what are you guys doing today?
Today we're going to talk about starting from where we are and thinking before we speak.
Wow, that is awesome. I could have used that 40 years ago. Thank you so much. It's great to have you guys with us. Go have fun. We look forward to seeing you guys here in just a little while. Again, here at Temple Buddhist Center, we practice Western Buddhism. Western Buddhism is a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. And this new and exciting form of spirituality is dynamic. It's growing and changing with us, with our culture, with our society. It is active. It is inclusive. And it focuses on core Buddhist insights as well as mindfulness, meditation, and their practical applications in our daily lives. Our goal here is not to get everyone to agree on a specific lineage or philosophy or sect of Buddhism, but rather a shared experience of mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting together, sharing from the heart, or spending time in noble silence, we respect that you will participate at a level that is comfortable for you. We take refuge in the three jewels and acknowledge these core values as expressions of the awakened mind, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We value awareness of our Buddha nature, as well as the Buddha nature of all beings, bringing a fresh, new perspective to each and every encounter. The second jewel is the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear and delusion and help us to realize the true nature of who we are. And finally, Sangha, our spiritual community, where we come together to help each other, to practice the teachings, and to help each other along every step of the path. And so let's take a moment now to silence any cell phones or electronic devices as we prepare for a time in meditation and contemplation. We're going to begin with the prayer of refuge, which we have right up here on the screen and also on the overlay for our streaming folks. We will recite this prayer together 3 times for the 3 jewels. So let's take a moment to take a conscious breath together, ground and center ourselves. Together, in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. And so as we prepare now for a time in meditation, if you have an extensive practice, then we invite you to practice in a way that is fitting for you this morning. If, however, you are new to meditation, we're going to begin with a dedication of intention. We will awaken the bell 3 times for the 3 jewels. And then our teacher today, Mr. Robert Brumet, will lovingly guide us with a guided meditation into the stillness. We will spend approximately 10 to 12 minutes today in noble silence, connecting with each other in consciousness. After that, Robert will lovingly and gently bring us out of meditation. We will sound the return bell, and then it will be time for today's Dharma talk, or teaching. And so with that, let's take a conscious breath together. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
As we together listen to the sound of the bell receding into the silence, I invite you to simply be aware of your experience in this moment, hearing, perhaps thinking, being aware of sensations in the body, feeling the body, being aware of any emotions, desires, any other mental activity. We begin by just seeing, touching each of these with awareness. Holding each experience like we would hold a feather in our hand. Very gently, with a light touch. Letting each experience blow away like the feather when it wants to. Not grasping. Not pushing either. Sometimes those feathers are kind of prickly. Some of our experiences don't feel good. Just notice that. Notice that you feel unpleasantness in the body or in the mind or the heart. That's all there is to do. Noticing what arises, noticing what falls away. Noticing the feeling tone of each experience. Some experiences feel pleasant, feel good. Some experiences seem to be rather neutral. Some experiences are rather unpleasant and difficult. So the intention is to meet each one in the same way, with a gentle awareness, an open-handed and open-hearted compassion, letting it be what it is, without judgment, without any story, without any sense that it should be different than what it is right now. So the practice is being present, being aware in each moment, noticing how that feels, and letting it be just what it is. Holding it lightly, gently. And whenever you get lost in thinking or any other experience, just come back to the breath. And as you consciously breathe, you know you are present in the moment. Then when you know you're present in the moment, open the awareness to any experience in the body, the mind. holding it lightly. Being gentle, compassionate, welcoming, and allowing your life to be just as it is in this moment. In this moment. As we continue to be aware of the experience in this moment, breathing, sensing the body, hearing, thinking, just noticing, being fully present. Feeling your arms and your legs, feeling the body sit in the chair or on the cushion. In a moment, you will hear the sound of the bell. I invite you to use that sound as a way of returning to the world where we have our eyes open. This world appears suddenly when we open our eyes. And just noticing how that feels. Noticing your experience with your eyes open, your heart open, and your mind open. Good morning. It's good to see you all. It's good to be here with you. On the screen, you will see a picture of your brain. You can see why it's so easy to get lost in there. It's a place you want to visit, but you don't want to live there. As a meditation teacher, I hear lots of questions, but typically they fall within a few general categories, and I'll share some of those with you now. And perhaps they may sound familiar to you, because I myself have asked them when I first began the process. What am I looking for when I meditate? You know, people will say, what's supposed to happen? Another question, how long will it take for me to be a good meditator? Because right now I'm not a good meditator. I want to be a good meditator someday. How long will it take? Or statements such as, I can't stop thinking long enough to meditate. You know, my mind is chattering like a bird. I try to meditate, but I just can't do it. I don't seem to be getting anywhere with my meditation practice. What's the point? So, I won't ask for a show of hands, but perhaps you have uttered these words at one time, and if not, at least thought them. I certainly have myself. Whenever I hear these questions, there's a particular story that comes to my mind. Sometimes I share it, sometimes I don't. But the story is about a city dweller who was out driving in the country, and he got lost. And he was out, quote, in the middle of nowhere. We've all had that experience, I think. And he drove around and he didn't see a building anywhere in sight, and he drove several minutes, and finally he saw a farmhouse way back off the road, and he pulled in and drove up the gravel driveway. And as he pulled up to the farmhouse, he saw this gentleman in bib overalls and a corncob pipe and a straw hat was sitting on the porch. And when he stopped the car, the gentleman came off the porch and greeted the driver, and he said, "Can I help you?" And the driver said, "Well, I think so, because I'm looking for Jonesville. I'm lost. Can you tell me how to get to Jonesville from here?" And the farmer thought for a moment, and he looked to the left, he looked to the right, and he thought some more. He said, "You know, you can't get here. You can't get there from here. Can't be done. So if I were you, I'd start from a different place." And that's, in a way, the response I often give to people that ask questions about how can I meditate better? How can I do it better? I would say, you can't get there from here. We got to start somewhere else. We have to start out with different questions. You see, that's often the problem, is we engage meditation the same way we engage everything else in our life. You know, the basic ego model, the mental model is that, you know, there's something missing in my life, so I'm going to do something to get something, to fill that missing piece, then I'll feel satisfied, right? We see that over and over and over again. You know, my stomach's empty, it's growling, so there's something missing, AKA food. So I do something. I go to the grocery store, I go to a restaurant, or I go home and prepare a meal. I get something, and I feel satisfied. And then there's some other missing in my life. Yeah. I need to do this, I need to do that. But we're always constantly following this model of what do I need to do to get what I want. And so it's very easy to approach meditation the same way. And unfortunately, that's not the way that works. Because when we approach it that way, we get lost in that maze, the brain that is inescapable. Because you can't get there from here, from these questions. So in meditation, we see that, number one, there's nowhere to go, which is kind of a new idea. There's nothing to do. And thirdly, there's nobody there to do it. So when we meditate, you know, there's no trying to get somewhere. We're right here, right now. And we're not a somebody trying to make something happen. Or at least that's the intention in a skillful meditation. But so often we revert back to that old program that kicks in of what do I have to do to get more, to get better, to get it quicker, so I can get what I want. Because something's missing in my life. What happens when we stop doing that? And the way we stop doing it is we notice with awareness. Maybe we return to the breath. Maybe we say a mantra. Maybe we're doing walking meditation. Come back to walking. Come back to whatever we're doing. Or we meet it with awareness. But we basically are interrupting our normal way of being. That's the challenging part of meditation. It's not hard because it's hard to do. It's hard because it's hard not to do. And when we sit, we deliberately don't do. In fact, I think that Pema Chodron has a rap around non-meditation. She'll say, sit there but don't meditate. Because so often people think of meditation as doing something. So it's rather than try to meditate, just sit there, be present, which is meditation, of course. But it bypasses the program that we have around what meditation means. Now, when we clear the mind, open the heart, and sit quietly, we just live in peace forever after, right? Well, I don't think so. If you've ever tried it, it doesn't work that way. We have peace for maybe a while, but then pretty soon something arises, There's difficulty in the body. The body starts getting grumpy. Or there's fear or anxiety or boredom or depression or sadness or whatever. Stuff starts coming up, so to speak. Where'd it come from? Well, it was there all the time. We just weren't aware of it, you see. So the conscious mind is a little bit like, have you ever gone in a business or a restaurant or maybe even somebody's home where they have an electric train, a model train going around the tracks? It just goes around and around. So think of that being your mind. Okay. Now, when we meditate, we get off of that train, but so typically we get onto another train, which you might call the underground train. New meaning to Underground Railroad, huh? But these tracks for this railroad have been laid down from a very early age. And these tracks, when we fight with them, we lose. So basically what happens is if we try to stop the train, it's not going to work. It's a very powerful train. It's got too much momentum. It's based upon survival instinct. It's very deep. So what we do is just not get on the train. We can watch the train. We can stand on the platform and watch it go by. We can choose not to get on. And when we choose not to get on that train, it eventually will go out of business. If we stop feeding it, stop giving it our tokens, it's not going to go anywhere. But when we struggle with the train, when we stand on the tracks trying to hold it back, we're going to get run over. It's not going to work. So, watch the train go by. Watch how we try to get on it. And when we find ourselves on it, which we typically do, we jump off as quickly as we can. And sometimes we find ourselves several miles down the road before we get off. Where was I the last 15 minutes, I was on a train going around and around and around. But once we get off, we can see the train and watch it go by once again. The more awareness we bring to that process, it takes the momentum out of that train, which the train is our story. Who I am, what I'm supposed to be, I'm okay, I'm not okay, I'm good, I'm bad, I'm this, I'm that. All of our stories about who I am, what the world is, what should be, what I ought to be, what I'm not, and I should be. All of those stories, that's just the train that's going around and around and around and around. I'm not enough. something's missing. I can't do it right. I'm never good enough. Life is always doing me over, whatever. Over and over and over again. But when we see the train without getting on it, that takes its energy away. And it brings the power back to us as the observer. There's a teacher of mine, he's actually a Sufi teacher, but he teaches beyond the Sufi tradition. He says, Hamid Ali is his name, by the way. He says, we are always leaving ourselves, always departing. We think we're going someplace. When we try to go someplace, we all end up as separating from our true nature. All we end up doing is separating from our true nature. We are always trying to find our true nature by going away from it. Spiritual practice takes us to the point where we simply recognize how we are leaving and the ideas and the beliefs that make us feel that we should leave. So in other words, noticing what it is that takes us out of the moment, what hooks us. So we're standing on the platform watching the train go by, and the next thing you know, there's this big hook comes out, grabs us, and we're in the boxcar racing down the tracks. And we wake up 3 days later in a different city, wondering how we got there. But each time that happens, when we're aware, we get off a little more quickly. And each time we get off a little more quickly, it takes the energy away from the train. I'll continue my quote. So we notice how we are leaving, and when it truly reveals its fundamental ground, spiritual practice takes us and teaches us that there's nowhere to go and there's nothing to do, because practice is bringing us home to who we are in this moment. So where we are is that we start right here. Not with how do I meditate, how do I do it better, how long will it take me to be a good meditator, but we start with two basic questions. What is my experience in this very moment? What am I experiencing in this very moment? And then how am I relating to that experience? Am I pushing it away? Am I grasping it? Am I struggling with it? Or can I simply hold it in my hand without pushing it away or without grasping? To meditate is to cultivate a skillful relationship with our present moment experience. That's really what meditation is developing a skillful relationship with each present moment experience. And that skillful relationship is that of awareness, acceptance, and kindness. Awareness with clarity, with precision, knowing that we're aware. With acceptance, meaning we don't judge, we don't push, we don't resist, we don't cling. And kindness means we make friends with each experience. We take it into our heart. That's the intention. When we don't do that and we get on the train, what do? We just get off and repeat the whole thing once again. So I'd like to close with this quote from Brumet. It's a very short quote, but I think I may need to read it a couple times in order for it to sink in, because it's kind of a tricky one. It says, "Oh, many a man sets out to some place. Oh, many a man sets out to some place from the place where the object of his search is." You with me on that one? Oh, many a man sets out for some place from the very place that he's looking for. So once again, anytime we try to do something other than be present to where we are, then that's exactly what we're doing. Many a woman sets out to some place from the place where the object of her search is. So what we're looking for is that which is looking. What we're looking for is the source of the awareness, which is what our true nature truly is. So let's just take a moment and sit and breathe and give gratitude for the Dharma. And may all beings be happy. May all beings be free from suffering. And may all beings find peace in their hearts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert. So let's just take a moment to embody the teachings, not trying to synthesize, analyze, figure things out. Just let them drop into the body, feeling it with your heart, letting your heart resonate with the teachings. And it's not unusual to shift your posture or adjust the body a little bit as we transition from today's Dharma talk into metta practice. Metta practice is heart practice. It is a kind of a practice that opens our hearts and creates that expansive feeling, including all beings everywhere, and helping us to see that we are not separate. And so for heart practice, it's not uncommon for people to sometimes place a hand on their heart, or perhaps to create the Anjali Mudra, which is a focusing of the heart energy, or even just your hands in your lap is also totally acceptable. So let's go ahead and take a moment and take a conscious breath together. And as we exhale, I invite you to bring to mind a full body image of you, of the form that has been given your name and that has accrued the many experiences over the years. And holding this image in your mind's eye, recite silently to yourself these words of metta practice. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. And may I be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a friend of yours. Holding this image of your friend in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send to this friend metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a difficult person in your life, a challenging person. Could be a boss or a coworker, classmate, a neighbor, or even a political figure. And holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send to them metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of the world, all the plants and the flowers and the trees, animals of the land, the sea, the sky, and all sentient beings, including ourselves. Holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta to us all. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be safe from inner and outer dangers. May we be well in body and mind. And may we be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And releasing that into the universe. And so in the true spirit of Dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services here are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, which means not in return for anything that you have received today, but rather so that those who may be seeking refuge may find it here in this temple with these teachers and with these teachings and with this Sangha. And we take a moment of gratitude for all of our ambassadors, those folks who have committed themselves to regular monthly electronic giving. It's not about the amount, it's just that the regular monthly giving helps us to set a budget here at TBC. The Dana boxes are located at the back of the meditation hall. And if you'd like to become an ambassador, just stop by our website, templebuddhistcenter.com, and click on the Love Offering button. We also take a moment, let our hearts fill with gratitude for all of our amazing and wonderful volunteers who help us each and every day to continue to bring spiritual nourishment and opportunities to practice together with each other, whether it's near or far, in so many different workshops and classes and different retreats and programs. So thank you to all, so much to all of our wonderful volunteers. And thank you so much to Jordan for filling in today. Beautiful music and helping to kind of set a tone for us. Thank you so much, Mr. Robert Brumet, for your kindness, your generosity, your friendship, your mentorship, and for teaching me how to really accept defeat in the game of chess. Coming to new terms with it. And thank you so much to all of our friends and Sangha members joining us from afar. And thank you to each and every one of you for sharing your heart and your presence and your practice with us here at Temple Buddhist Center. We are the better for it. And so as we prepare now for our bodhicitta dedication, it'll be on the screen as soon as I get through everybody here. We'll recite this together, and then I have just a couple of brief announcements for you. So let's prepare our bodhicitta dedication together. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with the palms of our hands together in front of our hearts, as we go forth now from this place, may we enter each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. And as we open our hands, open our eyes, shine our light into the world. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone near and far, for joining us today. A couple of quick reminders about upcoming events. On April 23rd, we are featuring the Earth Day celebration here at Unity Temple and Temple Buddhist Center. There's going to be a vendor hall filled with all kinds of organizations that promote sustainable lifestyles. There's going to be a political panel, a faith panel here on the stage, as well as a couple other different panels during the day. There's a wonderful art exhibit that has been placed in the hallway by our very own Jake Marshall, a member of Temple Buddhist Center. So as you exit today, be sure and stop by the art gallery, which is right outside this door, and check out some of Jake's amazing works. There is also a film festival on the 23rd. So all of that information, there's a little flyer out there, and you can go to the website. So please stop by. We would like that you would register for it. It's free, but we are asking folks to register to help us with some of that stuff. Also, our post-service discussion group happens every Sunday from about 10:15 to about 11:15, 11:30, right around there. It's taking place physically, if you'd like to join, just right down the hallway in the Heritage Room. Or if you would like to join virtually, just stop by the Facebook page or the website and look for the post-service discussion group, and you can click on that link and it will take you and you can join virtually. Also, we did it, the VSOC retreat, the registration is now online and it is open. Thank you everyone so much for your patience with me in preparing that, because this retreat is not only residential, but also commuter and virtual. It took quite a bit of effort and planning to get all of the food and everything all together, but it's all together. So please go by the website, and space is limited for the residential. Commuters, it's also limited, but we can accept about anywhere from 15 to 17 commuters. And of course, virtually is just about unlimited to join us for that. And our theme this year for the 4-day silent retreat is Earth as My Witness. And so don't forget, today is our Meditation 101. Every second Sunday, we offer a 1-hour class from 1 to 2 o'clock. It's really not so much for 101. It's for anybody that might be experiencing an issue or a problem with their meditation or mindfulness practice. So any questions, we can even, if there's no questions, we can talk about different methods and techniques. So whatever's on your mind regarding that practice, we can talk about. And so finally, my last note for today is just Jenny Hahn is featuring a Mindfulness for Creatives class. I'm not sure if it's full. I know there was 3 spots left Friday. So if you're a creative, art, music, poetry, anything like that, Jenny's going to be, who is a very popular and renowned artist here in Kansas City, is going to be talking about that relationship between our practice and our creativity and how that works. So you can get signed up for that. If there are no spaces left, I think there's a waiting list, and we can try to get you on, or at least registered for the next class. And so with all of that being said, thank you again so much, everyone. As you go into your day, I wish you peace, blessings, and amazement.